Hey everybody, it's Daniel here for Mobile Syrup, and we have the Galaxy Note from Samsung. This is the Bell version, but this is launching on Rogers and Telus as well. This is an LTE powered 1.5 gigahertz dual core tablet slash phone. Call it a phablet, call it a phoblet, call it whatever you want. This is definitely not a regular phone. 5.3 inches diagonally. It's a HD screen, 1280 by 800 resolution, absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous screen. One of the highlights of it. You won't be able to tell from the video, but it is definitely improved over previous Super AMOLED displays on the Galaxy S2, for example. It's not quite as sharp, not quite as dense as the Galaxy Nexus, but at 285 pixel per inch, there is nothing on the market even close to this in a tablet form. So let's take a look at the hardware first. See here, it's very, very black. This is an AMOLED screen, so there's the pixels don't turn on unless they are needed. There's no backlight here. You see the 4 capacitive touch buttons on the bottom: menu, home, back, and search. Unfortunately, the LTE Canadian and American version does away with the physical hardware button and it adds on a search button. I'd prefer it without the search, but it looks really nice and unbroken here. On the top we have a 2 megapixel front-facing camera. Turning on to the left side, you can see this chrome bezel wraps all the way around the device. There is a volume rocker here. It's a little bit shallow, not so easy to press, but looks good. On the bottom we have a micro USB port and a second microphone. We also have the S Pen, which I'll show you in a second. That's the stylus that is not a stylus. There is a power button on the right hand side here, just like most Samsung devices. And on the top we have a microphone and a 3.5mm headphone jack. You can also see a little sticker here. If I zoom in, it says Qualcomm 4G, and we'll explain that in a minute. On the back we have an 8 megapixel camera with a flash. Very, very nice backing. Looks professional. It has this kind of leathery look to it, though it is made of plastic. There's a speaker grill here, and if we take off the back, it is very similar to the rest of the Galaxy S2 lines. It's kind of flexible plastic. It won't disfigure very easily, but it's not as thick as I would have liked. It certainly is thicker than the other Galaxy S2 devices, but that's just because of the size overall. There's a 2500 milliamp hour battery in here, micro SD slot, and a Bell LTE SIM card. So we just snap that right back on there, and let's dive into the software. Turn it on. See this new home screen here. Doesn't really do much else, but it could do if Ice Cream Sandwich gives us some extra presence. You may be able to quick launch different apps from the home screen. As of now, it just looks like you can, but you can't actually do it. This is TouchWiz 4. It's basically the same version that we're all used to. You have your horizontal app drawer here. You can edit things if you want to. You can create folders. You can create new pages. You can just add a page like there, drag, add a folder, name it, hello. You can add and transfer different apps. So if you want to slide one app into a folder there, you have to remember to save it at the end, otherwise you're going to lose all of your changes. But it is a nice and flexible way to view all of your applications. You can move things around without having to reorder them, which is nice. And the home screens here, there are 7 home screens. You can flick through them just like you can in the Galaxy S2. If you want to add a widget, you can add whatever you want, and this little menu down here pops up. You can add your widgets like you can in Ice Cream Sandwich. It's a little bit cumbersome because you have to flick through all of them to get to the ones you want, but that hasn't been improved in Ice Cream Sandwich, and I think I like this version better. So this is running Android 2.3.6. We're just going to take a look at the About Phone menu. You can see over here, Android 2.3.6 running Gingerbread. It's actually not bad for a Gingerbread build. It's one of the fastest I've used. This has a 1.5 gigahertz Qualcomm APQ8060 processor, very similar to the one used in everything from the sensation last year to the Galaxy S2 LTE to the Galaxy Tab 8.9 LTE. So this is a very versatile LTE functional chipset. Uses the Adreno 220 GPU, so not bad performance, though it is about to be surpassed quite easily by the Tegra 3 processor, and the international version uses Samsung's own Exynos processor, which itself is quite a lot faster, but it's not LTE compatible, which is likely why Samsung chose the Qualcomm chip. Internal, we have 16 gigabytes of storage, 10 gigabytes of, or 11 gigabytes of storage is available for USB, and about 1.5 gigabytes is available for apps. There is 32 gigabytes of expandable storage if you want to include your own micro SD card. In terms of other functionality, we have the motion sensor abilities that Samsung brought to the Galaxy S2 and TouchWiz 4. You also have some power saving features over here. You can enable certain features like turning off Wi-Fi GPS when the battery gets to be a certain level. You can customize that if you want. You also have the ability to change the font in this particular build, and you can do so by going into screen display and changing the font. I don't like any of these other fonts. I prefer the default font, but I would love to see Roboto in here on Ice Cream Sandwich. Hopefully we get Ice Cream Sandwich as soon as possible. You can change certain things about the lock screen, for example, if you want to see the weather on there, and also you can change the position, change the wallpaper. So it's a little bit more versatile than regular Android, but nothing too crazy or out of the blue. Your brightness here, this is a beautiful bright display, very vivid. You can turn down the brightness to around 25% and still have excellent indoor performance. Outdoor, it's not so great in sunlight. It's actually gets kind of washed out, but that's due to the Super AMOLED technology, not so much due to the screen itself. This is definitely one of the best screens on the market, despite the fact that it has a pentile matrix underneath it all. Let's move on quickly. We have a pen and we want to use it. So what are the best ways to use the pen? First of all, you can take it out. This is not a capacitive stylus like you would use it on the iPad. This actually has a Wacom digitizer underneath the LCD that communicates with this. This is built specifically for the Note, but you can also use other Wacom styli as well. You hold down the button in order to use it. So if I want to take a screenshot of this, for example, I'd hold it down and I'm going to hold it on the screen, and from there I can annotate. So it takes a couple seconds, it gets into the screenshot, and I can go, okay, I want to take a video, and there we go. So it works quite well. It's actually a little bit better than I thought it would be in terms of responsiveness, but in terms of real-time responsiveness, we're not quite there yet. There are a couple other things that Samsung has brought to the table with this S Pen. You can hold down the button, double tap anywhere in the UI, wherever you are, if you're in an app or on the home screen, and you can make your own drawings. You can have your own little memo. You can customize the color of the pen, the size, the brush, whatever you want. You got it there, and you just get out of here and you can go. See, I'm not the best person to do this because my drawing abilities are really, really poor, but I will put that up for auction. You guys can buy it for thousands of dollars if you like. The pen itself can actually be used throughout the UI, so if you have oily or sticky fingers or whatever, or you just don't feel like touching the screen, you can actually navigate using the pen. If you want, you can get into what they've called S-Memo, and this is an overall kind of Evernote type replacement, so you can create your own text/drawing memo, and you can actually type using the keyboard, or you can actually use this to type. So what you do is you actually go into the Samsung keyboard, and it'll give you an option to use the pen to actually type. So if I go hello, it should come up with the right word over there. This is Daniel. So it doesn't input spaces automatically. It's a little bit cumbersome. You know, we're going back to the days of the Palm the Palm Pilot here. I don't think anybody's gonna replace the touchscreen keyboard with this for writing, but for drawing, I actually think that there's a lot of potential here. It's pressure sensitive too, which is different from most of the other kind of capacitive styli that you can use on the iPad or a non-Wacom digitizer optimized screen. So you can kind of hold it down really, really lightly for a thin line, or press it down even harder for a thick line. There's a lot of potential here, and one of the apps that has just been updated to support the Galaxy Note is something called Easy PDF. So I have my pen. I can touch on a certain pen size if I want, and you can customize the brush to whatever color, whatever thickness you want, and you can annotate your PDFs. This works great if you are overlooking or trying to correct somebody's work. If you're in business, if you have, you know, some free time, you can annotate PDF. You can change your resume. You can make notes to a memo that you've already created. Whatever you like, this is a very versatile solution. If this is not to your liking, you know, put it away. I don't think that this is the reason to buy the Galaxy Note. I think if you're going to be using the Galaxy Note, it's for the beautiful screen, it's for the LTE connectivity, and it's for the overall performance. So in order to give you a little bit of an idea of how fast the LTE connection is on here, I'm going to go into the speed test app, and it's going to give you a sense here. You should get under 50 seconds ping time and over 20 megabits a second in the downlink, which we have. And I usually get between 6 and 10 megabits in the uplink. This is a little bit slower. Where I am in Markham, we're not as highly saturated with LTE signal, so it's a little bit of a hit and miss when it comes to LTE performance, but we're consistently getting over 15 megabits a second down, which is excellent and definitely faster than most people's home broadbands, and certainly the ping times are way, way faster than anything HSPA Plus can allow you to do. If you do want to go back to HSPA Plus, if you want to save some battery life, for example, you go to mobile networks in the settings and you just go to network mode, and you can change it from GSM HSPA and LTE to GSM HSPA, and it will set that back down to HSPA for you. There's also the ability to use Wi-Fi Direct, keys via Wi-Fi, and there's NFC support on the battery there. So if you replace that battery with a third-party one, you will lose NFC capabilities. In terms of the browser here is fantastic. It's the same hardware accelerated browser that we found in the Galaxy S2. And let me just see if I can find it here, because I've messed up all my icons. I'll just use the one down here. So we see Mobile Syrup should load up, and we can load up my favorite tester here. Let's go back to the keyboard. We're going to go to NewYorkTimes.com. Should load up the mobile site very quickly. If we scroll down, can load up the full version very quickly. This is a Flash compatible browser. You can see how smooth it zooms in and out. You can also see just how absolutely phenomenal that text looks. You're not going to notice any of that Pentel matrix unless you look really closely. So you can zoom out, zoom out, zoom out, and you should be able to get your tabs over there. You also have the ability to customize the brightness independently here. You can set auto brightness, but you can also set it to level 1, level 2, level 3, depending on what your power saving level is. So I'm not sure if that's so useful, but it's there. Unfortunately, this is not yet compatible with Chrome for Android. You have to wait until the Ice Cream Sandwich update for that. The last thing I wanted to show you, well, two last things, were the video performance on the Galaxy Note. These are 6 ads that Samsung came out, kind of showcasing how much better the Galaxy S products are.
Hours down, and we're almost in the door.
Guys, I'm so amped I can stay here for 3 weeks.
14? It doesn't say.
You know, if it looks the same, how will people know I upgraded? Whoa. Have you seen this thing? Can I see it with my hands? Check out the screen, it's huge.
Samsung. Samsung? Why do you guys just get 4G phones? Why don't you just get 4G phone?
Yeah, it's a Galaxy S2. This phone is amazing.
This phone is amazing. The ad says it all.
The Galaxy S2 from Samsung.
So these are 1280, these are 720p native, so 1280 by 720 or 800 resolution. Great performance. You're not going to be able to stream or play 1080p video as easily. The 1.5 gigahertz dual-core processor is a little bit long in the tooth now, but that's not to say that the processor is slow. It's just not the fastest one on the market. The other thing that I wanted to show you was the new mobile TV app, which Bell is launching very soon. And this is going to be one of their showcase apps, in the sense that they're bundling 5 hours of mobile TV access in many of their upcoming plans. So you should be able to test out this performance.
Medical questions.
Purchasing coverage is easy.
Now you can see that not only do you have access to live TV, like CTV News National, CTV News Channel, BNN, CTV. You can actually watch live CTV or CTV2. You can watch NTV. You can also stream on demand certain channels. So you can see this is The Voice, and it's playing live. Streams beautifully over LTE in really high quality. See, the viewing angles, even in light, are pretty good. Washes out a tiny bit, but not too much. So it operates kind of like the YouTube app, where it goes into full screen mode when you turn it into landscape, and goes back to the interface when you turn it into portrait mode. You also have access to some excellent content from HBO. You have NFL, NHL. You also have CBC News Network. If you want to go to the to HBO, you can stream things that are playing live, but you can also go to on demand and stream certain shows like whatever happens to be there, Nurse Jackie, Skins, so lots of HBO content here. You also have alerts, so you get, okay, I want to set an alarm for The Voice, and you can get a notification on that. You can go down and there's a guide, much like you can get on your television, guide for today, and you can swipe between different days. You can go all the way to 12 days, or about 2 weeks from now. You have access to Sirius Radio for an extra $5, as you always have, but the interface is much improved. So you don't have access to the content, you actually have to subscribe to it, and you can get it for $5 for 5 hours. I believe it's the same radio plan. And I don't think you have access to Howard Stern, but that's the only thing you're missing. The quality of the speaker on the back here is actually quite good, if you want to listen to it. So overall, this is actually a really nice app, and if you have 5 hours in your plan, it's kind of a no-brainer. You can use this. It's $1 per hour after that, so it's not the cheapest thing that you can use on your Bell phone, but it's certainly a nice addition. You can play music in the background as well. The camera is an 8-megapixel camera, and here's my iPhone 4S. I just wanted to show you quickly, because we're already up to 20 minutes, how fast and how quickly the shots are taken. However, the shutter itself looks like it takes longer, but you can move the phone around, and it takes a little bit of time to show up, but the shots take very quickly and look great as well. You can see that on the website in the review I showed you different quality shots, a macro shot and an outdoor shot. Some excellent 1080p 30 frames per second video here as well. So if you're interested in a phone this size, you can see just how massive the Galaxy Note is. It's definitely not a phone like the iPhone. It's definitely not a traditionally sized phone. I'm going to bring in the Galaxy Nexus here. The Galaxy Nexus, when it debuted at 4.65 inches, was considered a large phone. And you can see just the contrast of the three devices here. Galaxy Note is absolutely massive. It's also not the cheapest phone. It's going to be between $199 and $299 on a 3-year term, between $699 and $749 on a 3-year term, or sorry, on a no contract outright price. So definitely not a cheap phone, and its specs kind of belie that it may not have the longevity that we want it to, but it's a versatile device. If you want to use the S Pen, it's there. If you don't need to. It's an attractive device. It's very light and very thin, and even though it's not so easy to hold up to your ear, it's also a little bit cumbersome to hold in your hand. You know, you can't really wrap your hand around it. My thumb, which I like to think is a normal male adult thumb, can't really reach to the top of the left side of the screen. This is definitely a two-handed device if you're going to be using it for those kinds of phone functions. But it's a device that you're going to have to think long and hard whether you want to spend 3 years of your contract on, and whether you can, you know, kind of use this as a stopgap between buying a dedicated tablet and a dedicated smartphone. So this has been a very comprehensive overview of the Galaxy Note. This is the LTE version, coming soon to Bell, Rogers, and Telus. Thanks so much for watching.